Yo, what's good, Spirit Squad? Today we're taking a look at red deck wins, except this one's actually kind of cool. Normally, red deck, not really my thing, but I really wanted to play this because, quite frankly, it just looks fun. So we've got normal red deck stuff going on here. So there's Monastery of Swiftspear, there's Soul Scar Mage, there's Kamano vs. Kakazan, all the normal stuff that you would normally face to expect, right? Except this Boros version here gets a lot of card advantage out of Pia Nalaar, Consul of Revival. So she's a 2/3 for 2, where all your Thopters have haste, and she is the only thing that makes Thopters. But whenever you play a land from exile or cast something from exile, you get a 1/1 Thopter with flying. And everything in this side of the column here, this side of the deck list, exiles cards. So you have 8 now copies of Reckless Impulse effects because you have Reckless Impulse and Wrenn's Resolve. And both of them do the same thing. You exile the top 2 cards until the end of your next turn. You can play those cards. So think of it as like light up the stage, except it always costs 2 instead of 1 sometimes and 3 sometimes. And each time you play a land or cast any of these cards off of these Reckless Impulse effects, you make a Thopter with haste. So that's kind of sick. But also, Showdown of the Skalds is a card that's seeing even Legacy play. Like, this card's actually kind of busted. So Chapter 1, exile the top 4 cards of your deck until the end of your next turn. You can play all of those cards. And then Chapters 2 and 3 are both, whenever you cast a spell this turn, from anywhere, just exile from your hand, whatever, you put a +1 counter on a creature you control. So even from like a completely naked board, right, you can have the Showdown of the Skalds, you can play a Pia, and then every single time you play a spell that's like, you know, one of the other 3 cards, for example, from Showdown, you get a Thopter, and you can put a counter on stuff, and there's a lot of synergy to be had there. The middle column here is just going to be a bunch of removal. We've got 4 copies of Play with Fire, 4 copies of Bone Crusher Giant, again, very normal red deck win stuff, but also 4 copies of Chain to the Rocks because we are a Boros deck. And to help make that happen, we've got 6 actual mountains in here instead of trying to get cute with additional lands like Ramunap Ruins and stuff, because we need mountains to actually enchain with Chain to the Rocks. And then 4 copies of Sacred Foundry. So 10, half of our 20 lands, help play nice with Chain to the Rocks. And aside from that, again, normal Boros lands here. So we've got 4 Inspiring Vantages, 4 Battlefield Forges, and 2 Den of the Bugbears. Personally, I do like Den of the Bugbear, but I would understand if somebody wanted to simply play copies of Mountains instead to make your Chain to the Rocks a little better. I'm a little greedy, so I'm going to play Den of the Bugbear. For our sideboard here, we've got a Companion. Woo! Exciting stuff. Always love it when we get to do the broken stuff. But aside from that, we've got 2 copies of Rest in Peace, and these play really nicely against Greasefang and against Phoenix. Now, Phoenix, pretty annoying. That's something that we're used to losing to as Spirits anyway. But I really appreciate the graveyard help against things like Greasefang because, unlike Spirits, this deck is actually going to have a bit of a rough time against that. 2 copies of Destroy Evil. So these are primarily going to have Shieldred's name all over them, but it's nice against a whole bunch of other stuff, right? Like giant threats like Atraxa stuff, because we don't have Shacklegeist in this deck to just tap down Atraxa and ignore her. We actually have to care. And also temporary lockdown from the blue-white control decks. So lots and lots of jobs for this card to have. 2 copies of Alpine Moon, primarily with the name Lotus Field all over them. 4 copies of Forge Devil, and this is something that I just kind of wanted to play. This is not something that I found in any original deck list. So a lot of decks right now are going to be on things like Llanowar Elves, between Mono Green just being the best deck right now. That deck's got 8 Llanowar Elf effects in the main, and we don't really want to deal with them playing their cards on time, so let's make their life a little difficult with Forge Devils. So I'm going to be playing all 4 to that effect. But this is not the only thing that it's good against. Like Azorius Spirits, of course, is really good right now. And being a deck full of 1-drops, Forge Devil has a lot of jobs there. You also want to have anti-elf things against things like Gruul Vehicles, which also look up to power out powerful spells. So I like all 4 of these for right now, and I hope they perform pretty well. And then just 4 copies of Rending Valley. Again, Spirits is absolutely annoying for basically everything that's not named Spirits to play against, but also Mono White looks really good right now. I don't know if I want Forge Devil against Mono White, but I definitely want Rending Valleys. So that's going to be the deck we're playing today. I'm hoping it's just as cool as it looks, because that's the entire reason we're here today. And yeah, I'll see y'all in round 1. Today's video brought to you by FusionGamingOnline.com, your one-stop shop for all your gaming needs. Welcome to round one. We lose the die roll, which is a little bit unfortunate for our aggro deck, but we get to show off Gigantha, and we have a Gigantha mirror. So this doesn't really tell us anything, but I think my hand might be a little too slow for my liking. It's got consistency, which is nice, but you know what? Yeah, fuck it. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. I want to see if this hand is too slow, or if just drawing like a Play with Fire or Chain to the Rocks against a creature deck is enough to kind of rescue this hand. And Dark Slick Shores off of Gigantha means I have absolutely no idea what's going on in this world anymore. Consider, okay. And they keep whatever the card is, so I don't exactly get extra info. Is this just like a Rona deck of some sort? Are we doing like See the Truth stuff? What's happening here? Oh, it's just Neoform. Oh, well, that sucks for us, but I legitimately didn't know that Neoform. Oh, well, we drew this anyway just in case it was some weird creature deck, but that's not what's happening anymore. Well, here's what I can do. I can go ahead and play Pia. In the next turn, assuming they get to do the thing, I can Wrenn's Resolve and try to look for a Chain to the Rocks to lock down something like a Gigantha or like a Atraxa. So that's a big plus. Yeah, I don't know. Neoform is one of those decks that I always kind of like forget exists. And to be fair, I guess I do understand why that's the case, right? Like, okay. How do I beat this? I can, during upkeep, double Play with Fire the Mandrills, exile target instant or sorcery from graveyard, copy it is what's happening on the next chapter. So they can Otherworldly Gaze or Consider, and then they cast a copy immediately. Okay. So I think that is what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do here is wait for them to declare their target with Founding the Third Path, and when they use mana to cast either Consider or Otherworldly Gaze, I can respond with double Play with Fire targeting the Mandrills to try to kill it. Let's see if that is something I get away with. If I get to do all of Stubborn Denial, okay, which means they do have the stupid thing, which kind of sucks for me, but I can't do anything about that, unfortunately. So now I'm going to do this and hope to God they don't already have another Stubborn Denial. Okay, so can't do much about that, which means now I'm basically hoping they don't have a Neoform in hand. And if they do, then I'm also hoping that my Wrenn's Resolve can find a Chain to the Rocks to get rid of Atraxa. So looks like I'm taking 4 here, and then post-combat they can go and get their 7/7, and they do in fact have the Neoform, so it sucks to be us. There's the Atraxa. What do we get? Okay. So they get to keep Fatal Push, Tassiger, Neoform, and Watery Grave are the cards they keep. So now we are basically crossing our fingers on this Wrenn's Resolve to help find us a Into the Rocks. Okay, and they do decide to cast the Tassiger as well. Not looking great for the home team. Oh god, looking terrible for the home team. So we're going to go ahead and pack this one up and move to the next game. I'm not winning this game. So let's see if this looks any better for us on the play. Here we do want Rest in Peace. We also want Destroy Evils. And I don't want any of these red cards. I also do not want Alpine Moon. So cards I don't want here are what? Just the Play with Fires more than likely. Let's double check that statement. Nah, I actually think Bonecrusher Giant is the one that comes out here. So that leaves us with only 12 creatures. But 4 of them being Pias and they need to respect our Rest in Peace, I think that's still okay. Yeah, I'm okay with this. I think Bonecrusher Giant is a little worse than Play with Fire. Okay, so let's be on the play this time, showing off Gigantha once more. And what's our hand look like? Our hand is actually pretty decent this time. So I'll be fairly happy with this. Opponent takes a Multi 6, which is also a pretty decent sign for us. So I'm down a game, so if you don't mind, opponent, you can Multi 4, thanks. Oh, right, they're actually taking a Multi 5 now. It was only a joke. Okay, they stay at 5. So here we're going to Inspiring Vantage into our Soulscar Mage and see what it is they come up with. Good luck, opponent. Okay, so we have a regular mountain here, and I am just going to play the Sacred Foundry tapped. I don't really feel like taking damage. And now let's see what it is they want to come up with. So this could be just like an Otherworldly Gaze here, or even like Consider at the end of turn. It is in fact an Otherworldly Gaze. You got it. So what does Magical Christmas Land look like here? I guess it looks like they play a land, I Play with Fire end of turn, untap, the Scry finds me Rest in Peace, I play a land before I play Rest in Peace, dodge the, oh, dodge the Stubborn Denial? Okay. That's what Magical Christmas Land looks like, so... Okay, so I'm going to play my land first, once again, trying to dodge any copies of Stubborn Denial, so it can't counter 1-for-1. If they have, like, I don't know, a Spell Pierce or something else, then yeah, sure, whatever, you got it, but I'm going to make them have it. Okay, so they just cast Otherworldly Gaze, which is great for us. They do get to use it to determine their next draw or two, but they can't do the delve stuff, which is the important part for us. Okay, let's get these graveyards the hell out of my face, and we attack for 2. So now let's see what they want to come up with. They could have any number of things to deal with Rest in Peace. This is not exactly a safe permanent here. So they could have access to something like a Boseiju, they could have Abrupt Decay even. There's a lot of ways to get rid of Rest in Peace out of this deck, but I am still fairly happy with our scenario now. So let's go ahead and get our attack in, then we're just going to buy Gigantha and pass the turn. Okay, so we're at 14 here, and 1, 2, 3, don't mind if I do. And there's another Otherworldly Gaze off of the Confluence, so now they're going to 13. And suppose this is one of those games where, right, like, it's going so slowly that my Showdown of the Skalds actually look kind of bad with only 3 lands in play. But realistically, I think I'm still kind of okay with this, right? A Swift Spear is pretty decent. Like, my clock still isn't the fastest by any stretch of the imagination, but it is an additional thing to add to the clock, so them going to 11 is still better than 12, so I'll shut up and take it. We are Aether Gusting my Soul Scar Mage, and I will put that on the bottom. Alright, sick, they're off it. So, we get to go to game 3, and I'm just going to resubmit. I do not... Wait, I'm on the draw this game. Never mind. On the draw, I have a lot less faith into 4 drops. Instead, we're just going to do this. Like, on the play, I think it's a little more reasonable to have 4 drops in my deck. On the draw, I just don't think that's reasonable at all. And it's not like Bone Crusher Giant is actually good in this matchup. It just is better than a 4-drop. Okay, so on the draw, revealing Gigantha, and our hand is going right back. To see the 0-landers. This is also not good, but it is much better. So I'm going to keep this pitch to Bone Crusher Giant that I already don't really want. And I suppose if I draw even 1 land, this hand actually does look fine. Like, I get to do the whole Swift Spear Soul Scar Mage thing, so that's going to be pretty dope. And I have, with another land, 2 good castable removal spells. And there's the land I asked for. Thank you, deck. I love you too. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with Soul Scar Mage, because next turn I can just like double Swift Spear, attack for 3, and then kind of start going ham if possible, especially with these 2 things to help back up my nice little suite of options here. So they can go ahead and Foundry for what? An Otherworldly Gaze, even a Fatal Push, Strategic Planning, you got it. Yep, Otherworldly Gaze is in the graveyard too, good to know. And we drew a Chain to the Rocks, which I kind of like. So, options. I can just destroy evil this now. I think that is actually worse than letting them tap mana. Let's think about that statement. So what happens here? If I destroy evil, the Founding now, then during their turn, they have to play a land just to have enough mana to cast a delve spell. I can untap, destroy into the rock Swift Spear and get good attacks in. I can double Swift Spear, allow them to mill, and I think that is a little sketchier than just plain old... Yeah. Okay, it has been talked out. This thing's going away. So, yeah, I think doing this and making them use Otherworldly Gaze, if they want to actually delve a card now, knowing that I have double Chain to the Rocks and Swift Spears to use prowess off of the Chain to the Rocks, is a lot better than, like, letting them mill and then potentially going ham. So they have a Botanical Sanctum, so that's pretty good for them. They can cast a delve spell holding up Stubborn Denial if they have one. So here, I would really love to just see a 3rd white land. I specifically asked you for a white land. I feel like I remember that, but guess not. So we're going to go ahead and do the Swift Spears, and then I want to enchant the mountain, the basic mountain, and do this. So now let's see. Oh, hell yeah. No Stubborn Denial? Let's fucking go. So now to go to 10, and even if they do this in upkeep, find a delve spell, I have another Chain to the Rocks. So we lit. What is this card? Okay. I am the reader. Understood. So here I am going to just attack and ask my Pia, do I need to consider any other lines? No. I don't think I have any reason to want to buy Gigantha. I don't think they have sweepers I need to be concerned about. You know what? I'm going to look up a deck list to see if they play sweepers out of the board. 1 second. I see this, of course. Okay, so back, and it looks like the only reasonable sweeper they can play is normally Extinction Event, because they are normally a Gigantha deck. This is double pips, so they did not reveal Gigantha, and I did notice that part, but I feel like they don't have anything other than Extinction Event, and even if they do have Extinction Event, these are odd, so they can't wipe my entire board with one of those. So knowing that, I feel like it was pretty safe to play the Pia here. So this could be what, a Hooting Mandrills? If that is the cast, then they are dead to my other Chain to the Rocks. And it looks like that is the cast. So fully no Stubborn Denial. Sweet, no land for Stubborn Denial. Perfect, love to see it. So we're going to go ahead and just cast our Chain to the Rocks, do our prowess triggers, have one very sad opponent, and we move to 1-0. So that is super exciting. Great stuff against a really fast combo deck. Hell yeah. All right, round 2's here. Ooh, we get the die roll with our aggro deck. This is exciting. What up, Phoenix 135? And our hand is a... You know what? I'm going to gamble. This is exactly the kind of one-lander that really goes off if I get another land here, because I have like 3 of these draw 2 effects, 2 1-drops that both benefit from them, and a Pia. So I'm going to tell myself that we're confident in that we're going to get a land. So let's play our Soulscar Mage and see what our opponent's cooking with here. A swamp. Well, that could be anything. Ha! Never didn't have it. All right, so let's go ahead and get an attack in, see if they want to use a Fatal Push on my Soulscar Mage, and then post-combat, I can go ahead and play Reckless Impulse. I'm sorry, actually, I think I want to play the Pia. Pia. All right, so here's a Pia. Let's see what they got. So doing the Fatal Push first, unless they have exactly another Fatal Push, is pretty sweet for us because this thing being a 2/3, it does dodge the Bone Crusher Giant possibilities. And a land is actually quite sweet. So I want to miss the damage on the Swift Spear. Hell yeah, perfect. So now we get a Thopter, and we get to cast a Swift Spear with this mountain that we just got. Attack with everybody. Jeez, this is sick. All right, that was awesome. And then next turn, I can play a land and then Showdown 2? Oh, how is that all right? I mean, I'm fucking here for it. But all right, good night, Pia. I don't even care. That was awesome. You did your job, and it was amazing, and I love everything about your life right now. So we're going to go ahead and cast this for prowess, get an attack in, and what do we have next turn? Wow, we have a lot of playables next turn. I can play 3 of the 4 cards from Showdown just next turn, and if this is like a Shieldred, I have Chain to the Rocks already. I am... Oh, crap. Oh, I meant to put a stop in my upkeep for Play with Fire. That's on me. All right. Boo hiss. I suck. So we now get to trigger where you get +1 counters every time I cast a spell. So I'm gonna Battlefield Forge here. I want to not take more damage than I need to, so I'm gonna Reckless Impulse. I am looking for specifically a Pia or another Swift Spear before I cast Chain to the Rocks. So we have prowess, we have counters. There's a lot of stuff happening right now. So many triggered abilities. So creatures are huge. Reckless Impulse finds me a Bone Crusher Giant and another land. Okay, so I'm going to Chain to the Rocks, targeting my basic mountain. Once again, Swift Spear. You can have a counter. All right, go away, Shieldred. And I actually do kind of have to do the Play with Fire here because it's going to go away at the end of this turn. So the counter is going to go on here, so I can dodge a Bone Crusher Giant Stomp next turn on the Swift Spear. And I'm going to scry this to the bottom. And now let's attack for 8. Christ, that turn was awesome. I love this already. That's right. Get out of here. All right, cool. So against Rakdos Midrange, what do I want? I think I literally only want to destroy evils for exactly Shieldred and flipped Graveyard Trespassers, and I'm going to take out 2 copies of Play with Fire to make that happen. I don't believe I want any other changes. All right, run it. Okay, so let's go ahead and reveal our friend Gigantha, remembering that this time we are in fact on the draw. And our hand on the draw is actually not bad. Like, I've got Kamano on 1, Bone Crushers on 2, Wrenn's Resolve to make up more cards and go from there. And 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 5 real cards in my hand are 2-for-1s. So, or in the case of Showdown, way more than 2-for-1s. So a Thoughtseize against my hand with 4 different 2-for-1s is probably not the best look, especially when I'm the one with red cards. Or to be more accurate, I'm the one with more red cards. There we go. So losing 2 life when I'm already going to be trying to burn you out is probably not where you want to be in life. But hey, not my problem, right? Okay, so they take the Wrenn's Resolve. Okay. So they take, I guess, the most definitive version of 2-for-1 there. And they don't know about the basic mountain, so let's start with the Den of the Bugmare into Kamano. They take their 1 for that. And let's see what they have next. Since I have double Bone Crusher Giant, they can't really, like, use their turn 2 playing a Blood Tithe Harvester, so more than likely they probably just pass the turn back to me, which I'm okay with. Especially if I actually, like, draw a creature. And even if I don't draw a creature, that's fine, because I can play the Battlefield Forge, Bone Crusher Giant Stomp still. This is another Thoughtseize I'm fairly happy. Oh, they actually do cast a Harvester? Knowing that I have double Bone Crusher? I mean, whatever, fuck it, we take those. So, I'm not going to be able to take advantage of the trigger off of this, but I'm still pretty okay with not dealing with a bunch of damage from this harvester. So do I want... No, I'm actually going to do this now. So the reason I'm doing that now is on the hilariously off chance they want to use a removal spell to blank my Bone Crusher Giant, I don't want to allow that to happen. Like, there's not really too much of a chance that they're willing to do that, but just in case, right? You just, like, never really know. So they have a Fable, which is actually fine because I do have the other Bone Crusher here, and I'm not the happiest about this being a thing that can resolve soon, but, like, it is what it is, right? So what do I want to do here? I want to Battlefield Forge. I want to Stomp. They know I have 2 Bone Crusher Giants. Since they know I have another Bone Crusher Giant, I don't think there's any world in which they willingly... words are hard. I don't think there's any world in which they willingly block my etching. So I think it's probably right to just, like, stomp it, get it out of the way, know that I have these 2 Bone Crushers I can cast and kind of go from there. So this is going to be the draw discard turn, which is nice because they do that before Shieldred can come down. And with Shieldred next turn, assuming this is Shieldred this turn, I can untap, Chain to the Rocks on the mountain that I've been holding from them this entire time, and still cast the Bone Crusher. So that feels pretty decent. If they don't go for Shieldred, then, whoa, no draw discard? That's not scary at all. Okay, so here they can discard my Showdown, and they do. So that's a little obnoxious, but at least now they know that whatever creature they want to play is certainly not safe from me. So we'll do the untap. There's an Inspiring Vantage that I don't particularly want. So we'll attack, see if they want to do something about it. And what is the something? Just Fatal Push. I'm okay with that. So I'm going to cast one of my Bone Crushers now and play the advantage tapped and then pass. So they do have perfect knowledge of what's in my hand, but this isn't exactly the kind of deck where I super care about that, because either I can't do anything about it or everything produces 2-for-1s anyway. So who cares if they know what's in my hand? They still got to do something about all this stuff, right? So now I'm going to just get a regular roll attack in. Let's see if they want to, like, I don't know, pop a blood token plus Fatal Push maybe. No, we're just taking damage. I mean, all right, I'll allow it. So what do I want to do in the main phase? I can play my mountain and Chain to the Rocks this. That leaves room for them to have a land and resolve a Shieldred. I can Bone Crusher Giant, which I think is a little better for me, play Inspiring Vantage, and if they have exactly Shieldred this next turn, they can't Shieldred plus Thoughtseize, which is the important part. Like, my Chain to the Rocks is safe if they want to resolve a Shieldred. If they want to resolve another creature, that is fine, even if it's named, like, whatever the 3/3 is called, Graveyard Trespasser. Like, that's completely fine. Oh, another Fable. I super don't care about that. If they have another land, I suppose they can make one in an attack, but, like, I don't care about this at all. So I get to... Oh, never mind. I don't even have to think anymore. So I was going to say that I can Chain to the Rocks 1 and then fire up Den of the Bugbear to attack, but I don't even have to do that much work here. So I just get to double Chain to the Rocks, get rid of both of their blockers, and there's lethal right there. So GG's opponent. All right, let's move on to round 3. Okay, round 3 is here. We are on the play against Chico Strix. Nice. Okay, so throwback recognized. So I assume this is a play off of Chico Sticks, like the super ancient peanut butter coconut candy. And trivia, that is my absolute favorite candy ever from when I was a child. So shout outs to this person. Your username is fucking godlike, and so is my hand, so I'll keep it. Man, anybody who's interested and lives in the US, I know you can find Chico Sticks at 5 Below. I don't know what other shops would still sell them in 2023 though. Like, I've seen them in 5 Belows this year, but oh, we're just doing this again against Rakdos. Rest. Okay, so you can take my Showdown most likely. Okay, so taking specifically the Showdown means that we are most likely fighting against Rakdos Midrange again rather than Rakdos Sacrifice. So good to know. And since they know about the Vantage instead of the Mountain, I'll play the Pia, attack for 2. I'm sorry, attack for 1, not 2. And then next turn I can, I don't know, like mono. If they play some creature, I can Chain to the Rocks also. But so far I have zero information as to which of the 2 decks they are. They did not reveal Gigantha, so I'm leaning most towards Midrange, but let's just see what happens. Stomp my Swift Spear, you got it. So now I'd like a Wrenn resolve effect? No? Okay, fine. Let's play the Kamano, take 1. I will play the Mountain and attack for 2. So I would still love any of the exile draw 2 effects, that would be super sick. If they just go like land Bonecrusher Giant, I will still be fairly happy with just getting rid of this and then moving along with my life. I don't want them to Fatal Push. A Thought Seize is fine. I have 2 Chain to the Rocks. I'm just looking to hopefully dodge like a Fatal Push here. Misery's Shadow. Okay, so that's not very good against my 2-3, but I do get to be a little bit sad times about not immediately being able to get rid of this or drawing one of my sweet little exile effects. So I'm just going to go ahead and buy my friend Gigantha here and attack for 2, since they can't really pump this up or anything. And I'm going to use the same logic as last time, right, where I don't want to use my Chain to the Rocks on cards that are not named Shieldred if I have the option to Chain to the Rocks. If they cast a Bonecrusher Giant, though, I will Chain to the Rocks that unless I draw something better here. Graveyard Trespasser also kind of sucks, so that can get it. So now I take a total of 3 here. Okay, Hive of the Eye Tyrant. And I suppose we have some choices, right? I can't not get rid of this, though. That kind of sucks for me. So we take 2, go to 15, get ready to do the untap, and see what happens between my Kamano flipping. Oh, Soulscar Mage. That's actually fine by me, because that's not a card I want anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and... Oops, did it again. Keep forgetting that you declare the mountain you want to enchant before actually tapping your mana, and that will not be the first time or last time I do that. So let's get rid of this Trespasser. I have to discard the Soulscar Mage here because I do want to keep the Gigantha in hand. So they go down to 8, and between the Bonecrusher Giant that they have here, the Hive of the Eye Tyrant, and just the ability to put a bunch of mana into the Misery Shadow, oh, they had the Shieldred. Boo. Okay, so keep it real. Not really looking great for us anymore. So we take 2, we go to 13, untap. I'm hoping to draw another Chain to the Rocks or a Wrenn's Resolve type effect to find a Chain to the Rocks for the Shieldred. Battlefield Forge is not going to do it. So I don't mind just like asking my friend here and hoping for the best, but this is starting to get away from us. So if they do attack with the Shieldred, they don't attack with anybody, including not casting Bonecrusher Giant either. Not sure if I like that choice, but it is what it is. So what do I want to do with my mana? I want to attack with Gigantha, see if they want to block with Misery Shadow, and if I can finagle my way into a Bonecrusher Giant line where Bonecrusher kills Misery Shadow somehow. I think that's where I want to at least start. So let's see what happens off of this block. Oh, okay, we're trading. That's fine by me. It does mean that they most likely have 2, which obviously sucks, but oh, you know what? I actually... Oh no, it is this turn. Yeah, no, I straight up thought that was just one of those things that was only on the turn it flipped. I didn't ever realize that it was just all the time kind of thing. So we stomped their face, and then the fact that we cast Bonecrusher Giant from exile means that my Pia will actually trigger, which is kind of sick. So if they have another copy of Stomp, killed the Pia, you need another Stomp here. Do you have a third Bonecrusher? A third Bonecrusher. Okay, understood, opponent. This is the life we're about. So now they just like are gonna have more Bonecrusher Giants than me, which kind of sucks. But it looks like we're immediately casting a Shieldred again. We are immediately casting a Shieldred again. You got it. So now if I draw a Chain to the Rocks, then I'm feeling pretty good again. Damn it, another land. Ugh, yuck. I will attack with my friend Athopter here. And I'm not going to play to land because I do want to allow my opponent to cast a Thought Seize if they have one. There's no shot they cast a Thought Seize at 7 life, but just in case. Well, I guess 9, but still. Okay, so there's a Fable. You got it. Not much I'm doing about that. I don't know, being sad, I guess. Okay, I was going to say I'm sure they're not actually going to be taking damage off of that. If they attack with Misery Shadow, they don't. That's good for me. So let's see what I can draw. Come on. All right, whatever. All these lands are not exactly helpful here, so let's just move to game 2. All right, so I want to destroy evils once again. I take out Play with Fires. Even though we saw the Misery Shadows, I still think this is the card to take out. Double check that statement real quick. I'm on the play this game. Yeah, Play with Fire. So the reason that's important is if I'm on the draw, then the opponent can wait until turn 3 to play Misery Shadow, and that means that I can't effectively Bonecrusher Giant it, but on the play, that's not going to be really an option since I will have access to empty mana before they can, you know, develop a third mana. It throws their whole turn off if they want to do that, which is fine for them on the play, but not so much on the draw. So let's go ahead and reveal Gigantha, see what my hand contains, and hand's actually fine. So let's keep this and Kamano into Pia into draw 2. doesn't really seem bad at all. And this hand is nowhere near like Thoughtseize proof, but it is, I don't know, Thoughtseize instant-ish, I guess? Because like they have to choose pretty hard between the Pia and the Wrenn's Resolve. Oh, no discard spell. Okay. So I can just Pia and have it be a 3/4, but that's not great against Fatal Push. So instead, I'm actually just going to Wrenn's Resolve, make them waste their turn, and honestly, this is still fine. Because I can, like, Pia plus Den of the Bugbear, and I feel pretty decent about that. So I'll have 2 attacking creatures between Pia's Thopter and the flipped Kamano. So, like, this is still fine. And them holding up a Bonecrusher Giant, I don't particularly care about that. Okay? So, as advertised, a pre-combat Pia so that I can make my land drop. The land drop will make a token, and I get to attack with up to 2 creatures. So if they have a Bonecrusher Giant for etching, so be it. If they have a Fatal Push or a Power Word Kill or whatever 2-mana removal spell they're playing for Pia, so be it. I already got my value out of her. It does suck that the Thopter's not going to have haste if they kill Pia, but whatever. We're playing for the highest potential upside here. Now it looks like they're choosing which of the 2-mana removal spells to cast, which means they have at least 2. Okay, so they do stomp that. Okay, they take the 1, they go to 18, and they can just like untap and cast Bonecrusher Giant, but I have Chain to the Rocks already and a Wrenn's Resolve, so I think I'm pretty okay with that if that ends up being what happens here. It's not, which means they're holding up removal spells? Okay, well, I'm gonna start with a Wrenn's Resolve and see if they want to respond to that by killing Pia. Unfortunate. Okay, still get the draw 2 though. Swift Spear in Kamano, don't mind if I do. So here's a Swift Spear. Now I get to play Battlefield Forge to Kamano. We've got prowess triggers, we've got a damage happening, get to attack their face a little bit, and hope, I don't know, not another Fatal Push on Swift Spear, I guess. Fine, Power Word Kill. So that's okay too, because they effectively telegraphed pretty hard that they did have another 2-mana removal spell, so the fact that they actually had it is not surprising. If they just like jam Shieldred here, I do have a Chain to the Rocks already, so that's nice. Graveyard Trespasser, same concept. Okay, so good night Pia, now it's 17-18. And the Inspiring Vantage is actually a fine discard to that too, because I don't really care about that. So I get to actually do quite a bit of stuff here. So we're going to enchant this using my Painless White Source, getting rid of the Inspiring Vantage, that out my face. I want to cast Use so that you come into play with the counter on it, and now let's get an attack in. So another line that I had there was discard to play with fire, and play the land. This way I could have potentially like bought Gigantha here, but I actually think with specifically Soulscar Mage being in play, I like having access to the play with fire to like, I don't know, weaken something too maybe. So like I can make this, for example, just like a 2/1. Is that what I want to do though? And I think the answer is probably not. So let's just untap. Oh, hey, non-sarcastic actual hooray. So let's go ahead and stomp you out. I know I'm taking damage for doing all of this. So if I cast both spells, get rid of the Bonecrusher, and they Fatal Push my, damn it, my Soulscar Mage, then sure, I'm still a little sad here. But like, it is what it is. I'm getting rid of their threat. Flash blocker. And they do still have to take 3. They still have to deal with my board. I have a Bonecrusher Giant on standby, and if I draw a land, then the Bugbear is live. So there's still a lot of options I have access to here, and I can still draw Chain to the Rocks in case they just want to like try to Shieldred me. So there's a lot of live draws and good things here, and none of that is considering the fact that I can just draw a +2. Fable. Okay, Fable's pretty good for them. So they're still stuck playing a little off curve, and I still have my Bonecrusher. I can't lie and say I'm sad about the way this is proceeding so far. So let's see if they want to block the etchings. Yes, they do. They go down to 12. I cast Bonecrusher. And this is still fading a copy of whatever the extinction event. There we go. I'm like, whatever the sweepers card called. It's like I have an even and an odd, so we're still like dodging that a little bit. So I understand that earlier we talked about not playing the land before to dodge a copy of Thoughtseize or like a duress effect, right? Like we want to tempt them into playing it sometimes. But here I actually like playing the land because I can just activate the Den of the Bugbear, get my attack in, but not worry so much about, you know, taking a 2 life when I'm already at 14. Like, this is a matchup in which our life total is pretty relevant. So I am going to fire up the Den of the Bugbear and attack with both Bonecrusher Giant, Den of the Bugbear, and my Flyer. Yes, I like doing that. All right. So this makes it, I guess, kind of a twofold thing, right? Like they don't get the super obvious tell that I have another land in hand for something like a Gigantha later on. But if their only option here is to block, then I'm pretty happy about that. It's not. Okay, boo hiss. Let's float and pretend I have a spell. Okay, joke's on me, I don't have a spell. So they can trade with my Bonecrusher Giant. And I still don't think there's like a point to me playing the land here. Attacking with the Den of the Bugbear probably signals fairly hard that I'm holding a land, but on the off chance that they are holding a Duress or a Thoughtseize, I'd like to give them the opportunity now to waste it, because I don't have to be so concerned with my life total about a basic. What's this? Another Fable. That's pretty good for just them. I'll say I'm happy about that. So now let's do the untap, see what we get. And we're doing this again. Okay, let's attack with our friend Thopter here, and we're gonna buy Gigantha in hope to either Gigantha or like a small string of Raw 2s is worth it. So I am gonna play the land. They know I have Gigantha, so if they have a Thoughtseize, they are already gonna use it, so there's no point in holding back 2 lands. They filter out a Blood Crypt, which is pretty good for them. I'd like a blood token or 2 right now, thanks. So cards that I would love to see right now include Wrenn's Resolve, or the other Wrenn's Resolve. I'd like to see a Showdown. Showdown's especially nice. Let's see what else. Okay, so we're making a bunch of Goblin Shamans, so that's annoying, but you got it. Can't do much about that. So I go down to 10, so it's technically a tie game in life total, but my opponent's pretty massively ahead, especially if at least one of their 2 cards is removable, which, well, they're playing Rakdos, so it's a pretty high % chance. Uh-oh. Yeah. All right, time to cuss. So they got the Shieldred. Now let's draw a removal spell. Okay. I mean, I gotta take this one. That kind of is what it is. Let's kill the Shieldred. And it sucks that I had to choose there between killing the shield. Oh, I'm dead. I am super dead if I attack, so I can't attack. Yeah, that's not a great feel. Okay, time to pass. So if I attack, then my opponent's got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the token makes 8. So can't really attack, which kind of sucks. And if they do fire up the Den of the Bugbear here and attack anyway, it's really sketchy to block the token, but that's probably what I would have to do. And then I have to untap and basically cross my fingers. Yeah, this sucks. Untap and basically cross my fingers on any kind of draw spell that filters me into multiple removal spells. Oh, not attacking with oh, damn it. Yes, they are. Fuck it. Let's just back it up and move to the next round. Okay, so we're 2-1, including 1-1 against Rakdos. We got murdered this one and murdered on the first one, so far, not bad. Let's move to the next round. Okay, round 4's here. We're on the draw. Let's show off Gigantha here, and my hand is painful, but not bad. So I will keep this and hope that my opponent is not on an aggressive deck. Irrigated Farmland. Thank you, opponent, for being on the exact opposite of an aggressive deck. You too. So here's a Soulscar Mage to start with, and this is going to be one of those matchups where I will be really grateful for all of those +2 effects that are in this deck, because, you know, it's actually not bad for us. So yeah, we have all of these like wonderful +2 effects, and they help mitigate the fact that everybody in their deck is going to be like either sweepers and trying to 2-for-1 me, or they're going to be trying to do things like, I'm still going to cast this now, or do things just like countering all of our decent spells. So like the fact that these Chain to the Rocks are here, for example, this is going to be absolute fucking trash. But let's see if this is a counterspell or like a, oh, okay, sweet. I do not care about the counterspelling this, because I still get my prowess trigger. I made them use their counterspell on something that I didn't really care about resolving anyway. Like the Scry would have been nice on that, but okay. Yeah, so overall, even though we're on the draw, I still kind of like this hand against them. But once again, I would love to see cards like Wrenn's Resolve or other Wrenn's Resolve. Kamano is okay. No, Kamano's fine. I'm just complaining. I think Kamano's okay. So once again, we're going to do that. We're going to play with Fire them again. So if it goes, oh, hey, thank you. You are, in fact, what I asked for. So we're dodging March of Otherworldly Lights. Yes, we are. Cool. So they can like temporary lockdown and get rid of all 3 of these permanents, which sucks. No arguments about that. If their entire turn here is just like, I don't know, support next turn to try to like live a little, then I'm still not sad about that. So here, what I'm going to do is go to my effects here, and I'm not going to cast Pia, even though my 1 Kamano is on chapter 2. Instead, I'm just going to cast like a pre-combat Wrenn's Resolve. And the reason I'm casting it pre-combat is to trigger my prowess on this, meaning that if they counterspell, then they have to choose between Counterspell or getting like a half decent copy of Shark Typhoon off. And okay, that honestly kind of sucked for me, but okay. So now if they want a Shark Typhoon, they still can't kill Soulscar Mage with it. They can kill the Etchings with a 2/2 Shark, but I think I'm okay-ish with that. A Wandering Emperor sucks. They can exile this, obviously, and then next turn play, like, I don't know, it's a fairy or something. So that sucks. They stay at 10. Okay, yeah. Oh, they're going to go to 8. Okay, that's fine, too. So now they can do what? Play Teferi plus make a blocker for it. I guess that's okay. I would love to draw a land now if they do that. That is exactly what's happening. Playing Teferi and making a blocker for it. Okay. So, not going to lie and say that doesn't suck, but let's see if I can draw one of them there handy-dandy lands off the top of my deck, please. Nope. Okay. Poor Unfortunate Soul, featuring me. So, I'm going to try to stomp out the token. Yeah. If I get a prowess trigger, let's see if this actually resolves. It does. Okay. And I am going to attack like this. So, I can't kill Teferi anyway, so I'm just, like, not going to try. But I can kill the Wanderer if they allow this to do the thing. Oh, sick. So a cycle of farmland is like almost best case scenario, right? I would still really appreciate a third land so I can like participate and do my stuff, but this does not suck. If they play some creature for some reason, Deluge during main phase, I love that for us. So that's being staged. So that's good to know. So sometimes regular blue-white control does play, regular blue-white control sometimes plays like up to 2 of these. Lotus Field plays all 4, and the fact that they have Hall of Storm Giants in this deck doesn't tell us anything if both decks play this. Yeah, this was my first tell. So how to proceed? I can chain to the rocks, but I have to pay 3 because it's a triggered ability. I can actually no, I can't chain to the rocks. Duh, because I don't have a mountain. So I'm just gonna try to attack them then. They block 2, they take 1, and I can play Bone Crusher, but that sucks into a sweeper. Gross. Not a fan of that. Do I have a better option? And I think the answer is probably not. I think the lands came a little bit too late here. So yeah, I just get to be sad about that. Is effectively where I'm going with this. So if one of my lands was a mountain, these 2 chained to the rocks would feel pretty decent. But that's not what's happening here, so I can Bone Crusher Giant, let them cast some sweeper on it, untap, and Soulscar Mage plus Pia and hope for the best. I guess that's what we're doing. So if they have exactly a Lotus Field, that's pretty good for them, but they don't, so it's a Hallowed Fountain. They draw another card with Teferi, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that costs 7 on flashback, so they don't really get the cutesy lines of like load a bunch of mana with Teferi, cast Deluge, untap lands, have good mana. That's not online yet because they don't have a Lotus Field, but oh, okay, definitely casting a big sweeper, so they got like a Farewell or some bullshit. Oh, not a sweeper, not a Farewell. What's instant speed? Gets rid of all of the creatures. End of turn card? Yeah, there's an end of turn card. Okay, annoying, you got it. It's actually really funny when playing against this deck that I actually have to consider that here, because like I'm just so used to playing spirits that like discontinuity might as well not be a card against me most of the time, but the fact that I actually have to respect that here is kind of amusing to me, that's all. Okay, so there's the Lotus Field, and now they get to copy it with Thespian Stage, untap into 6 mana with Thespian Stage and Lotus Field, so if they do have another one of their discontinuities, then they're going to get to basically do the same thing again, and it looks like they do have that, so sucks to be me here. Okay, so we're copying Lotus Field, here's the untap on the 2 Lotus Fields, and do we have another upkeep discontinuity? I certainly hope not. Okay, but that is what's happening, so sucks to be us, and let's watch them go ahead and do the thing. So a thing to note, remember this mechanic is sorcery speed. So if it was instant speed, then yes, I could have responded to the discontinuities by simply like buying Gigantha and still being mostly screwed, but at least having optimal play. Just wanted to make sure we knew that that was not an available play to us here. Another Thespian Stage. Yikes. So they have approximately 479 mana. I'm going to go to 10 here. Cry about that. And of note, they can actually use Thespian Stage here to copy Hall of Storm Giants. So if they want to do that, then that is a line that's available to them. And that smells like a sweeper. It is. Okay. So now they untap the 2 Lotus Fields and they have what? 6, 7, 8, 9 mana available? Okay. And here's a Reckless Impulse. So is there any shot in hell this resolves? Almost definitely not, but let's go for it anyway. If it's an Absorb, we will move to the next game. It is not an Absorb. So here I will cast my Soulscar Mage and Den of the Bugbear here. What am I doing? Teferi's at 8. We're just going to move to the next game. Didn't even think about that. Teferi's already at 8. There's no reason for us to still be here. So what do I want to do about Lotus Field deck? I want to put in Alpine Moons, and I want the Rending Valleys for specifically Strict Proctor and Shark Typhoon. Cards that I don't particularly care about include Chain to the Rocks and 2 copies of one of my burn spells, Where's Play with Fire. Here it is. Okay, yeah, let's get rid of these and let's resubmit. So it'll actually be pretty sweet to be on the play this game too. Okay, so this time we get to be on the play. Let's show off our friend Giganta here and see what we draw. We draw a one-lander, which is normally kind of mid, but this specific one-lander is actually kind of decent, provided I do draw another land. So I'm going to get a little greedy. This one, I have the answer to the Strict Proctor that I want. I have 2 decent 1-drops here, and if I draw a second land, I've got ways to draw extra cards. So all in all, fairly happy about that. So let's lead off with our friend Kamano here and wait for our opponents, I guess, tap land and go from there. A white source. All right, Portable Hole. Nice to meet you. Goodbye, Kamano. And it was a land. Look at us go. Okay, so I'm going to resolve my Reckless Impulse while I have the ability to. And if I get a land off of the Reckless Impulse, which I did, I can... Oh, I get both Pia and the land off of it too? Let's go. That's exciting. So now, if this is a Strict Proctor, I get the Pia, land, Rending Valley, and be excited. Denick does not change anything about that statement. So, don't get me wrong, Denick is really freaking good, actually, against us, just being a 2/3 lifelink on its own. But I get 2 Thopters here. This thing goes away. Go away, lifelinker. And we get an attack in. And the back half of this costs 4, so I don't really care so much about that. The cool thing about the back half of this card also is that it's a 3/2, which means my Bonecrusher Giant's actually live as a stomp. Yeah, it's a 3/2. Yeah, only you can't knowledge check me on spirit cards. So if this is just like a temporary lockdown, that's fine too, because I get my Kamano back. So you got some real life choices to make here. All right, looks like I'm going to get to untap. Sick. So now I can go ahead and resolve another resolve, haha, and see if they want to counterspell this. Dovin's Veto, you got it. And they typically don't play Supreme Verdict in these decks, so I will give myself a chance to beat them and make them be a list with it. Usually, because they have Thespian Stage Lotus Field, they're just like on much bigger sweepers like Sunfallen Friends, but it looks like this person is... Nope, we're playing Wandering Emperor. Okay, so good night, Pia. So they go to 14. I get to kill the Wandering Emperor here and do what? A Soulscar Mage. Don't really care so much about that one. So I'm gonna play the Soulscar Mage anyway, kill the Wandering Emperor, Emperor face, and if they simply flashback Denick, then I can Bonecrusher Giant untap, move along with my life. Okay, we play a 5th land here. I am still going to Bonecrusher Giant because I have to play with fire. So if they have another Dozin's Veto, or if they want to use like a sensor effect, then I don't know that I mind so much. They don't. Perfect. I love that for just us. And now let's get an attack in. Still not casting my Play with Fire. Okay, so now they have to choose between using their tick down to exile and gain life, or making a soldier, and I do have a stop here. Okay, good. So let's see which thing they want to do. If they make a soldier, my Play with Fire looks great. Exile. Dang. Okay, that's fine. I do want... No. I do not want to use my Play with Fire. Reason being, I want to cast Soulscar Mage, see if they want to specifically try to Denick plus put a +1 counter on it, and I can respond to the +1 counter with the Play with Fire. That feels better. Let's do that. Still not happy if they have another sweeper, but I can't really do much about that. Okay, so they make a Samurai. That's all well and good, I guess. And there's the Lotus Field. Okay, so they do have the Thespian Stage to copy it. So they have access to approximately a shit ton of mana starting next turn. Night Sweet Pathway Related Princes. And here we decide, do I want to walk into Dovin's Veto? Or no, I'm going to just untap and play correctly. So let's see what I draw. A Wrenn's Resolve. Okay, I'm in for that. Yeah, let's, resolve this. Get my prowess triggers and see if they want to start using counter spells here. Do we have another Dovin's Veto? Don't. Oh my god, look at us go. I am gonna cast this now. That's a thinker. I have so many options. I think I'm going to cast the Alpine Moon and get my prowess triggers and see if they want to have some 2-mana counterspell. Oh my god, they don't have it. Sick. Well, that's exciting. Okay, yeah. Okay, they cycle a farmland, they block 3, take 4, and they only have 4 mana instead of 700 now. So that is certainly a pretty good start. And with their 4 mana, they're also disincentivized from playing this Denick because I have the Rending Valley right here. So that's also not exactly the best look if they just want to like try to produce a blocker. So far fairly happy about this, and since they don't have 6 mana anymore, oh, never mind. I was gonna say they can't like farewell my Alpine Moon, but they can portable hole it. Now they have 7 mana. That can just be some big giant sweeper. Deluge, okay. So what does Deluge do? Find a oh, I don't care so much about that. I should put a stop in my upkeep, because now I actually want to cast a Play with Fire in my upkeep. Okay. So now I'm going to cast a Play with Fire. I want both Prowess and the Scry before I draw. They can't cast Discontinuity here, so I'm not really going to concern myself about that. But that's lethal. So we move to game 3, and I'm going to keep the same configuration here. I could put in Rest in Peace, specifically trying to play around cards like Memory Deluge, but nah, we're just going to resubmit. Okay, so we are once again showing off Jeff, and our hand is not bad. 1 drop, 2 drop, half decent 3 drops, and if I draw running lands, I've got Showdown 2 for later. Alright, I'm in for that. So Hell Fountain tap, that's fine. I've got my Kamano here, and a Soulscar Mage. I'm still using Kamano first. So if they do want a portable hole Kamano, great. If they don't want a portable hole Kamano, then I get a Soulscar Mage with a +1 counter on it. And I would rather have that happen than them use a portable hole on like a Pia, for example. So let's, yes, and I want to play you untapped so that I can Soulscar Mage, the counter on it, and have Rending Valley with Strict Proctor's name all over it. The same goes for Rending Valley, but I'm more concerned about Strict Proctor. So what do we have to do here? Just a cycle? Full Partition, that's, I guess. Hilariously enough, it's not an optimal play by any stretch of the imagination, but it is not the worst with Pia. So I don't get a chance to respond to Lotus Field with this, which kind of sucks, but yeah, like, I get to get rid of the Strict Proctor, but like, it's still, they still get to keep the nice things. So I at least get to clear the blocker. Not exactly great, but it's also not nothing. So we get to have our friend show up here, and I want to, what? I'm going to cast my Pia. Why do you cost 3? Right? Yeah, you cost 3. Okay, we play you tapped, and see what our opponent's going to cook up from here. So an Alpine Moon would have been really sick there, but didn't have it. Okay, so they also have the Thespian Sage, so now I would really appreciate that, but it looks like we're just getting farewelled here. Oh, Supreme Verdict, they did have it. And the Denic. Wow, okay, cool, nice follow-up from our opponent. I'm also going to get rid of this upkeep stop because I totally forgot about it. So I can play Battlefield Forge, and I guess this is a chance for me to resolve my Showdown. How much stuff can I do with Showdown? Until end of next turn I can play the cards. Is that better than just like double stomping this Denic now? And this Soulscar Mage costing 3 is really fucking up my life because I want to be able to double spell and involve a creature in that double spell, but I just don't really think that's gonna be a thing here. So many options, not enough mana. I think I'm going to Showdown and look for an Alpine Moon in those cards. Didn't find one, but honestly, like Swiftspear, Kamano, Wrenn's Resolve doesn't suck. And that feels even better if I draw like, I don't know, a Pia or a, even like a land next turn. A Rending Valley's not bad to get rid of Denic. So there's actually plenty of options here. But me having 4 lands against them, having 4 million options, doesn't necessarily feel great. I do assume that most of their mana here is going to be tied up using Thespian Stage, but I'm going to... Oh no, Discontinuity. Oh, this is awful for me. Ah, well, that feels bad. Okay. Not even gonna lie, that feels absolutely terrible. So I am gonna respond by, like, double spelling on this Denic here, but man, that feels bad. But at least I get rid of their life linker, but oh boy, my opponent is so fucking far ahead right now. Okay, so there's a Deluge. They got a total of 4 cards. I still need to remember that my Soulscar Mage costs 3, not 1. God, what a pain that is. Like, if the Soulscar Mage cost 1, we'd be in such better shape, but that's just not happening, and they're still at 19, so... Ooh, finger crossing, here we go. A Rending Valley, okay. So let's start by casting the bigger creatures and going from there. So we can at least make them have the thing. Okay, so they have another Deluge here with 3 mana left. So this could be, like, really any number of options here. They have a land, so they can also use that to flashback the Denic, but looks like we're going to choose not to. So what can they do with exactly 4 mana? 4 mana means Wandering Emperor. Noted. Okay, so because we suspect Wandering Emperor, I'm going to cast Bone Crusher Giant first. This way, I get a counter on the one that's already here, and if they decide to Wandering Emperor kill this, I can at least play with Fire the Wandering Emperor, pump this. So let's do that. Ganjo, that's not going to work. So I'm going to play with Fire their face and pump this to an X5. That feels fucking great. All right. Iganjo resolves opponent. It's in my hand. I actually kind of do want that. Ooh, Showdown, let's go! Okay, I'm gonna lie and say that didn't feel great. So, I'm still not exactly safe by any stretch of the imagination. Like, they could just have another Supreme Verdict or a Farewell or something, and then I gotta rebuild from scratch. But that's a large part of why we put that Den of the Bugbear on top of our deck. And we still have Jeff, and we still have the Soulscar Mage. This Denick here is not really a card because of the Rending Valley in my hand. The Fairy sucks, not gonna lie. So they can use this to copy Thespian Stage and then untap with 6 mana. So if they have discontinuity, that'll work as well. Blech. And another Thespian Stage. So we are hoping for a lot to go right here is what I'm getting out of this turn. And with the land drop, they can also hold Castle Vantress up too. So they also have a shit ton of options. And it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. So they get to untap with 7 mana, meaning they have any of Castle Vantress, Discontinuity, Flashback Deluge, or I don't know, Giant Shark. Okay, so I am going to make my land drop immediately because I don't want them to be able to, what am I thinking? I don't want them to be able to, I think I should try to kill them. Yeah, like I don't want them to be able to discount. Whoa, they're just going to 1? Fuck, why don't I have a kill spell? Aw. Alright, well, I guess I just buy Jeff and be sad. A Play with Fire or another Bone Crusher Giant would have been sick, but unfortunately I did not have it. So now, what? Are we just flashing back a Deluge? We are. Okay. Oh my god. This is such a tense game, y'all. So now they have 6 cards in their hands, 7 when you include both their draw step and Teferi's activation. They could just use Teferi to like tuck the big Bone Crusher Giant and then try to find something else to do with the little one, but I guess that's not happening here. So, what? Okay, I was like, it's gotta be a sweeper of some sort. So they can sweep, and then they can't use just Denick to keep themselves safe. So that's not an option. Strict Proctor, same statement. Neither of those by themselves is enough to keep you safe, opponent. So what am I hoping to... You're non-land, right? Yeah. And what are we doing with this 3 white mana? Okay, it is also Denick, sure. But you're at 1. So my Rending Valley is going to be able to investigate. Okay. Ooh, boy. Good luck, us. But you can't counter that. So now they get to untap 2 lands. They have 6, 7, 8 mana. So I'm hoping that this is not discontinuity. Okay. Okay, well, I'm gonna go to begin combat step and fire this up and see if I get away with it. That is our best option to kill them right now because I don't have a burn spell. So if this is discontinuity in response to this, sucks to be me. Okay, attack, and the token is also attacking you. No! Stop it! Oh, okay. I mean, that still isn't great, but they already used their Iganjo, so I guess they could find, what, like a Soul Partition kill this one. They could find March of Otherworldly Light and kill this one. That would suck. Yeah, that would not be fun for me. They'd feel pretty great about it. Fingers crossed, y'all. Cross the fingers for your boy. No, don't pay costs. Don't pay costs. Stop doing stuff. Are you a Wandering Emperor? Oh no, Soul Partition. Okay, that sucks. So they can block this now and get rid of their Soul Strict Proctor cycle. That's fine. Can't do much about that. Yeah, we have the Sads. They lived. Them living is actually incredibly bad for us now. They have so many cards, and flashing back a Deluge with Teferi on the table is pretty lights out as far as plays go. Since we do know where most of their sorcery speed answers are, though, like the Den of the Bugbear is still like one. What the fuck is red mana? Yeah. Okay. Won't lie and say that doesn't suck. Oh, yeesh. How the fuck do I beat you? Well, I no longer think I have great outs. God, what can I do? I can Wrenn's Resolve into 2 burn spells? God, that sucks so much as a plan. Alright, well, can't do much about it, so I think I'm losing to this Nif Mizzet, y'all. I think I'm just hard losing to the Nif Mizzet. Yeah, you got it. At 1-2, that feels so bad. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Alright, we're off it. Let's try to salvage the league with a 3-2 next round. See y'all there. Be sure to check out additional content from myself, Nikachu, the Commander Cookout, and others at themanabase.com. Alright, last round. Let's see if we can salvage our league into a 3-2 here. And from the looks of this hand, I'm not going to say it can't happen. Hand sign. So being on the draw does suck, but having Monastery Swifter into a pair of draw 2s against mono green? I don't know, let's see what happens. I would really have loved a 1-mana removal spell for this elf to keep off of turn 2 Pelucranos, but, you know, you can't have everything. But upside, we do have 4 Tainted Rocks in the main, and remember we did put those 4 copies of Forge Devil into the sideboard, so I won't... Hey, that's not bad. So I want to Wrenn's Resolve first. So that does mean that I'm not attacking, and yes, I'm sad about that. But I get to Pia plus Chain to the Rocks next turn. So yeah, all right, I'll take it. So I take the 4 here, cry about that, go to 16, and see if their follow-up is what? Maybe a Karn? Hopefully it's not another troll, but if it is, then... Oh, Pelucranos. That's another elf. Yeah, sure. So I can't do much about the elf, but a Pelucranos is not the worst thing to ever happen to me here. So let's go ahead and play our land and play our Pia. Fuck that. All right. So we're going to go ahead and chain to the rocks, targeting this Pelucranos rather than trying to get cute with a Soulscar Mage and then like let them flip the Pelucranos and maybe put ourselves in danger from there. No thank you. I'd rather just like give ourselves a fighting chance with like maybe some Thopter starting next turn. Storm to Festival could suck. If they have exactly like a Cavalier of Thorns come off of it, then I guess I cry unless I can find oh, that's not bad for me. Then I guess I cry about it unless I can find like another Chain to the Rocks or something. But so far, this ain't the worst thing to ever happen. So let's go ahead and start with one of these effects. We get Prowess up. We get to see 2 cards. I think I do want to cast a Swift Spear, start getting Thopters. Yeah, sure. And I'm going to cast Mono for another Prowess trigger, I guess. I can't really get attacks in because there is a 4/4. My Swift Spear is only going to get to a 3/4. But I still like the idea of developing boards, having at least my 1 attacker here, and then starting next turn, maybe I can like Reckless Impulse plus stuff, or even just like a Showdown and set up for a much longer game. I do have to kind of cry about the fact that these 2 trolls have trample, like that's gonna suck. If they fire up one of these Lair to Hydras, or even both, then I am kind of sad about that, but they could also just like flash this back. There's a lot of options, and I don't have that many of them right now. See how bad this gets. Cavalier plus Oath of Nissa. Okay. So the Cavalier obviously fucking sucks, but it is what it is. Another Cavalier of Thorns goes into their hand. This is not exactly great times population us. Oh dear. They have another Storm to Festival here with a lot of devotion. 12. And what does this Storm to Festival find? A Karn plus another Old Grove Troll. So I'm going to go ahead and pack it up here. I'm not beating 3 Tramplers. I won't even say there wasn't a chance of us beating 2 Tramplers plus the, our titles are hard, y'all. The 2 Tramplers plus the 1 Cavalier. Like, with another Chain to the Rocks and maybe some Prowess triggers, I think that was actually kind of possible. But 3's kind of a lot to add. So, I can put in these guys and start taking things out like the Kamanos are kind of okay, not great. Play with Fire. I don't actually know that I want specifically Bone Crusher Giant. And I could take out exactly 2 Showdowns against this much, much faster matchup. Yeah, I think I like that. So we're taking out 4 elf removals for 4 faster elf removals. We're taking out 2 Showdowns for 2 removal spells, but still having 10 plus 2 effects. I think I can live with this. I could put in Alpine Moons for the other Showdowns to play around exactly Nykthos, and I actually think that I should do that, just in case shit starts to get real. So I could get a little sad later about not having as many draw effects here, but I honestly don't think that's what these games are going to end up being about. So what's in my hand? 3 mana, 4 lands, no draws. This technically does the thing I want to do, so I will keep it and hope to God that I start seeing some extra help in the form of draw spells. So we're going to start with Kamano and see if they play a turn 1 elf for me to have a turn 2 Forge Devil against. So if that ends up happening, then I'll be pretty happy to like play my land tapped, untap, Pia, go from there. Okay, so there's actually another Kamano, so that actually feels pretty decent. So I get to do this Forge Devil. It's going to get a +1 counter. I get to kill the elf with it, and then I get to just cast the other Kamano. So yeah, that feels good. So there's an Oath of Nissa. They can find another land. Revealed an Elvish Mystic. Got it. But now I'm way ahead of curve here. Like I get to do the thing, cast a 3/4 Pia, and attack with this. I am a little sad about not having like another real spell here instead of like a doubled up copy of Pia that I honestly didn't really want here. But so far, this isn't that bad. So they can make 4 mana next turn, and they can kind of like pump the brakes a little bit with some kind of 4/4 or 4/5, or even like a Karn to divert my attacks for a turn. But this is still could be like a Pelucranos or a Troll. Looks like neither of those things is happening. I am certainly okay with that. All right. And Reckless Impulse is actively fantastic. Wrenn's Resolve and Chain to the Rocks, huh? Okay, cool. I definitely do not want the Chain to the Rocks this turn. I want that next turn against some big nasty threat. So, oh yeah, feels good. Now we get some really sweet attacks in, and I've got multiple removal spells for next turn, provided I draw a second white source. If they draw only, or sorry, if they play only one big nasty threat, then yes, I absolutely want to use that ability. Land doesn't come in tapped, right? Pay 2 life for the Chain to the Rocks or anything else here. I actually am gonna cast a Chain to the Rocks because I want to cut them off of a potential 5th mana just in case. Like, it's almost free to do so here, and they're keeping they didn't block anything either, so that means that my Chain to the Rocks is probably gonna feel pretty decent. It feels like now they really wanted that extra mana. So now next turn I can cast Destroy Evil against some big blocker and a Reckless Impulse, and they're off it. Cool, let's go to game 3. Do we change anything for game 3? I don't know, man. These Alpine Moons are feeling a little weak. Yeah, I'm putting the Showdowns back in. I only want 2, but I think I still want those more than Alpine Moons, even though I am fully aware of how real shit could get with Nykthos. Oh my Lanta, this is going right back. A 5-lander. Yikes. No, thank you. Opponent's also taking a mulligan, though, so I feel a little less bad about that. So, what's in this hand? We've got 4 lands, which is not great, but I have a Chain to the Rocks, a Kamano, and a draw, too, so I will keep this, and I'm specifically putting Inspiring Vantage back because I do want to keep the Sacred Foundry for this Chain to the Rocks. So, let's obviously wait for them to start off with an Elf, and see if I can't draw into a copy of... Yes! Forge Devil! Perfect! Thank you! Feels good, man. Alright, fuck out my face. Opponent says cringe sideboard. I mean, you're not wrong, but I don't care. So now I'm going to get to just cast my Pia, attacks in, I've got a Chain to the Rocks for next turn, and yeah, alright, feels good. So I can Reckless Impulse plus Chain to the Rocks set up for the following turn as well, unless I see something that oh my. Oh, that's good for me. Sick. So, not the Soulscar Mage, that doesn't really matter, but the fact that they didn't have anything else exciting to do there. So we Reckless Impulse, and I'm just going to play the Soulscar Mage now because I do want the Thopter with haste. So they take their medicine in the form of 4 damage here, and now they have 1, 2, 3, 4 with a land. They can make 5, play a Cavalier, but I already have Chain to the Rocks for that. Seeker's Chariot, not bad. Battlefield Forge, not exactly what the doctor ordered here. So, what can we do about that? I can play the additional copy of Pia here, but I straight up just don't think that's good. So let's instead play a Kamano. I think I'm just going to buy Jeff after this, actually. I'm just going to attack for 1 and buy Jeff. All right, yeah. So this isn't even that bad if I end up drawing into, say, like a Destroy Evil for a crewed up copy of a Seeker's Chariot starting next turn, or even just like another +2 so that I can start doing things with any of like Showdown, Wrenn's Resolve, Reckless Impulse. Hey, I finally remembered Reckless Impulse's name. Any of those types of effects. So the Chain to the Rocks is going to feel pretty good against this Cavalier unless they have their Boseiju. They found just a forest off of that, which I guess is okay-ish. Great, but okay-ish. And there's another Chain to the Rocks. Okay, so still not fantastic, but this is among the list of cards I wanted. So I will start with Chain to the Rocks 1. And that will get rid of the Cavalier. And then we're going to Soulscar Mage after that. If they crew, perfect. Perfect. Yes. Now I get to use the other Chain to the Rocks to get rid of the Seeker's Chariot too. And that gets through a pretty decent attack. I guess I want to do this first. I don't think it actually matters for literally any reason, but whatever. Doesn't make it less correct, I guess. So now I get to get rid of the Seeker's Chariot as well. And my creatures are nice and large and in charge and all that good stuff. So now Seeker's Chariot goes away. And we get some pretty sweet attacks in. Doop doop. So they can block the Pia with 1 of the cats, but I'm already not holding any exile effects, so... Oh, that's fine. That's almost better. I don't have another spell because they know I have the Jeff, but, like, this is completely fine. I actually thought they were going to get rid of the Pia rather than the Soulscar Mage, but, like, this is fine. So, now what? Old Growth Troll is annoying, and they can make, what? 3, 4, 5 mana? Oh, God. Transmute to 3 plus 5 is 8, so they can make 8 mana right now. And they do have a Storm to Festival. What's that gonna get? Hopefully nothing great. Suppose I would appreciate it if they found 2 forests. Close enough. That's essentially 2 forests. Alright, now our job is to cross our fingers, get rid of Old Growth Troll, and hope that that's good enough to run them over. If it comes off of a Reckless Impulse, so much the better. That is not particularly close to what I asked for, but okay. So, what do I want to do here? Just attack with my 1/1 flyer? That sucks. What's their devotion count? So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So they can flash back their Storm to Festival now, and I can't do anything about it. Yeah, won't lie and say that doesn't suck. Okay. So I can click attack all, including with the Den of the Bugbear. They can block 3 creatures, being this, this, and this. Only Old Growth Troll lives if they do that. Then they take 2, and I lose 1 creature, but they're down 5 life and I have a bigger board. Or I can just cast Gigantha and hope their flashback sucks. I don't know that hoping that this sucks is a viable line. Thinking... Yeah, I'm gonna fire up the Den of the Bugbear. So doing this puts their life total under some real immense pressure, and it does open us up to the option of just drawing burn spells for lethal. So that's especially nice for us if it ends up being the case that they draw Polukranos and, you know, can do like lifelink things starting with the next turn. So now they block that. They take what, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, as predicted, unless they don't block with this for some odd reason, but they probably just should, right? Okay. So they're going to block the token. They take their 5, 6, they go to 4. They only have Old Growth Trolls for creatures. And now, unless their Storm to Festival finds a creature or 2 and I don't find a removal spell, I'm feeling pretty decent. They can sacrifice Wolf Willow Havens. Oh, okay. That sucks. That's exactly, yeah, I was going to say that's exactly enough to cast the Storm to Festival. That sucks for me. So now what can I do? I can still find like a Wrenn's Resolve. Dang it. Cavalier means I can't attack with my Thopter either. So now I really just want like some draw effects so I can try to get rid of this Cavalier. They can actually probably attack with this relatively safely. Ugh, this is bad. So what did they even get? Shadow Spear? I guess a Shadow Spear works for them. A Destroy Evil would be super nice. Persistent Cauldron. Oh sure, they want to gain 4 life and do the loops. A Swift Spear. What does that do? A 1, 2, 3 blocks, so they only take 2 damage. That does not do me any good. So I should just cast and cry. Yes. I mean, that's not exactly the best solution, but it is what I'm going to end up having to do here. Oh, man. All right. Doesn't look good. Not looking good for the home team here. And we'll just skip past the turn because we do know that they have, they know that we have Gigantha only. So if they cast the back half of the Cauldron, then the Restorative Burst gets what? 2 creatures, lands, or planeswalkers, so they can get this plus this. Well, that sucks for me. If they have, there's no Kiora here, so at least I'm not being just straight up comboed with the Cauldron, so like that's not a thing, but I think we have lost our window. I no longer think we really have too many outs to be able to win. So the best out that I think we have left is probably gonna be like a Reckless Impulse plus... Power on. Oh, I actually thought I remembered it this time. So like, yeah, that's pretty bad because that can flip. And they have another Nick. So they flip the Polukranos now. And lifelink is terrible for me. They can also flashback. Oh no, they already did. Never mind. I was gonna say I thought they still had a Cavalier here. But with 19 life, it's time to back it up, everybody. So they can get the Karn back, and the Restorative Bursts can keep rebuying Karn since they have 2, and each one can get them from exile, and as long as they find even 1 untap effect, this is going to end up working out pretty well. So they're pretty much done here. Oh, they also just have another one of those. So they found another Nykthos with Cavalier, so let's pack it up and GG's opponent. All right, so we went through our league, and unfortunately we went 2-3, which does not rock, but we didn't really play this deck because we wanted to just win 5 rounds and beat up on everybody and kind of call it a day. If we wanted to do that, I would just play Spirits. But this deck was really fun. And just about every card that we wanted in our 75 came up at least once to some really good effect, right? Like we played against Blue-White with the Lotus Field, and the Rending Valleys came up pretty big against that. We played against Mono Green in the last round, and Forge Devils absolutely bodied some elves. Alpine Moon had jobs against both Nykthos and Lotus Field. Destroy Evil came up in both Neoform and Mono Green, and then Rest in Peace came up pretty big against the Neoform deck. So every single card that was in our 75 mattered at least once today, and that's about all you can ask when you play 5 matches of Magic, right? Like the Showdowns are easily the most expensive card in the deck, being 4 mana, and that is a lot to ask for a base red deck. But we saw the one turn where against Rakdos Midrange, a deck that negates card advantage most of the time and has a shit ton of removal, Showdown of the Skalds almost by itself absolutely bodied Rakdos Midrange, and that's still like the most played deck in the format. So I'm really confident that people who do like red decks will probably love this version of it, even though it's not my usual cup of tea. I just happen to see, hey, this is a relatively new build, and I haven't gotten to play it yet, so let's play it. And that's what today was. All in all, even though we did not really do much winning, I think this deck is fucking sweet. Like, this was awesome. I had a lot of fun playing this. So I would definitely recommend this to you if this is your cup of tea. With that said, that's going to be it for today's video. As always, let me know if you liked the video by actually clicking the like button. Subscribe if you're new, because I do like having y'all here. And I'll see y'all on the next one.